those of you watching, Kyle and I kind of first met, even though we went to school in the same county. We first met working together at a restaurant called Ace's Run, and we were waiting tables. And at that point, you know, like, we weren't close friends, I would say. We were more acquaintances, just co-workers.
Acquaintances, work friends, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember those days, I would work the swing shifts from like, what was it, 10:30 until 10 or 11 at night. And then I'd go to the gym at midnight and train until 3 or 4, rinse and repeat. What were you doing at the time as far as your training?
So whenever I would work a swing shift, I would always go before work. I liked to get up early and start my day. Anytime I work a swing shift like that, you know, 10, 12-hour days, something rough like that, the last thing I want to do after that is go to the gym. So, you know, props to you for doing that, man. You're a better man than me. I had an easier time, you know, just dragging my ass out of bed early in the morning. I could just, you know, wake up probably 5:30, 6 a.m. If the shift was at 10:30, you know, have pre-workout beside my bed, slam it, go straight to the gym, train, and then, you know, shower at the gym, off to work. And I usually wake up enough time to get me breakfast, because I knew that, you know, during the day, you know how it gets, especially in the summer. You're moving around.
Oh, yes.
So I'd always make sure to eat a lot for breakfast those times, and I feel like that kind of helped power me through, because I was able to, you know, get most of my calories in still, even though we're you know the server life, it's pretty hectic at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And no, I'll say it right back at you. I mean, just as many props to you for waking up early, because to me, midnight to 3 sounds way better than like 5 to 8 or whatever the time frame might have been. So it's just interesting. We took those two approaches, and I think it connects to what we just talked about. Neither of those are probably optimal, because, like, in my head, why I would train late, I would be like, well, I can at least get all of my calories for the day behind me before I go to the gym. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I woke up early, there's no calories behind you, but you have sleep right behind you. So, like, there's two different ways to optimize it, but neither way is the optimal way of training. But we kind of made it work.
But it's still better than not training at all, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then once we ended up getting more stable jobs, by stable, I just mean consistent work hours.
Yep.
You know, you can flip that switch and you're like, oh, training is so much better when it's like during normal hours.
The you know, normal time of day, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of going back to adverse training conditions. I think you know where this is going to go. We had our lockdowns during COVID in 2020. And I'm trying to remember, when was your first powerlifting meet? Was it in 2019 sometime?
Yes, it was in the summer of 2019, and then we started my senior year that year. Yeah.
Okay.
20, yes.
Yeah, because I think I remember it was kind of funny. I remember your mom reaching out to me, maybe through work email, and being like, hey, Kyle's planning on doing a competition, you know, he's looking for advice or something along those lines. And I think that's where we really connected after work, because, you know, I left Aces in 2018, so there was a little bit of a gap there. But, you know, I know we had at least talked a few times leading into your powerlifting meet. Then 2020 rolls around, and gyms close. I happened to be fortunate enough, like, I purchased, I swear it was the last gym, like, squat rack on Amazon with this bar that was rated to hold 300 pounds. And we got something set up in my 1-bedroom apartment. And just to paint a picture for the audience, and you can corroborate this. It was literally a living room, and then I had the couch, and in front of the couch where like a TV would normally be, we had the squat rack and a bench, and then next to that we had two fish tanks. One of them is behind me here, which every time we lifted, yeah, and I think you and I are both very good at staying within our range of capabilities, so I wasn't too worried about that. But, sometimes people pushed it a little hard in there, and I was like, oh God, if we take out the fish tank. And then we have the kitchen all in that one room.
Everything
kind
we
of
need.
talk about those months training together. I know I took a lot of value from that.
Man, those are probably the most fun months of training I had in my life. It was just us guys that wanted to get a lift in coming in. We understood we didn't have much, but we made it work. We made progress most of the time. It was just such a fun environment, man. It was just guys being dudes. You know what I mean? Like we were all there. We all had the same purpose. We all wanted to push each other. We all wanted each other to get better. We all wanted the best for Bob. It was just nice because it wasn't a lot. It was quite literally the bare minimum of stuff we could have and still train as powerlifters. But at the same time, that lack of variety allowed us to just flip off the switch and just kind of take it back to that high school period of time, where you just get in there, train hard, definitely a little more refined than our high school years for sure. We're not cranking out 15 sets of 20 or anything ridiculous like that, but when it was time to push it, we were able to push it, and having those people there, cheering you on, the back slaps from you that could, probably kill a small deer or something like that. It was just a lot of fun, man. Just fun, simple, hard training in a, not optimal, but fun environment.
Yeah, I agree. Whenever I think about it, it's like a little surreal now because like we've pretty much like everything's back to normal, back to training in the gym. It's been a couple years at this point. And then like I think back to that just block of time, and it reminds me of a movie or something because you're in the middle of lockdowns, there's work from home happening, but you don't really know what's going on with the world. But the one thing that's consistent is we would all come in like 4 days out of the week or whatever it was and just lift weights. And like you said, we made do with what we had. It wasn't the best squat rack, wasn't the best bar. We had like the old iron plates, and just to like my favorite memories are walking the bar down to the parking lot. Like for everyone listening, I lived up on an apartment that was like ground level, fortunately, because we could at least squat and things like that and not worry about the floor giving out. I remember the first day I set it up, and this was before you came in. I put it in my bedroom because it was a 2-room apartment, and it was on a hill. So the first room was ground floor, and the second room was second floor with the laundry room below it. And I had the squat rack set up back there, like next to my bed. I was like, oh, this will be a good spot. That way it's not by the fish tanks. And I just remember starting a like training session and having like 300 or 400 pounds on the bar. And I would squat and I would feel the floor go like this whenever I went up. And I was like, oh no. Oh, no. Yeah, that was a big no. So moved it back in, but with it being an apartment and my landlord living right above the apartment, we couldn't deadlift inside. And so we would walk the bar like outside and go down that hill I talked about into a gravel parking lot and deadlift out there. We carry all the 45s out. And I just remember training sessions where it's like raining on us. I'm pretty sure it like snowed at one point.
Mm-hmm. It was like you know what, April or something, and we were getting snowed on. We had to you know, dig out little footprints in the gravel where we could plant our feet properly. It probably wasn't even a level surface. We were probably deadlifting on an incline the whole time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and you know, we were just talking about people being afraid to lift in not ideal circumstances. That was the epitome of like just making do with what you had. You're lifting in a gravel parking lot or in this one-room apartment.
Not to mention all the looks we'd get from your neighbors, like, what the hell are these guys?
Yeah, exactly. And oh, I forgot about this till right now, but it would get so hot in that apartment